And going to go ahead and get everyone checked in here. Looks like we have someone on the beach. Krista, is Krista going to be testifying or participating or just observing today? If Mr. Wentz, you want to jump in?
Yeah, she's probably just observing.
Okay, great. And then let's see. So is it Amy? Is it Schigel?
Jiggle, yeah.
Jiggle. Okay. All right. Welcome. And you're with Wentz Design, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. And Mike, I know. Welcome back, Mike. And Trey Sheldon from our zoning department.
Good to see you again, David. You had a busy docket today.
Yes, this is my last one though, thankfully. So let's go ahead and get started unless there's anyone else we're waiting for on the applicant owner side. No? Okay, great. I think most of you have been through the spiel here before, so I need to read through the hearing script, which will cover the procedure for the hearing, and then we'll get into it. This is the July 26, 2023 session of the zoning hearing examiner docket. My name is David Sturkey. Again, case number before us today is ZH20230106. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and any potential opposing parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any potential opposing party wishes to provide must be presented at this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant, the applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. If there were anyone here from the public, they'd have an opportunity to speak after the applicant had presented its case. I'll give the zoning plans examiner, Trey Sheldon, an opportunity to provide the testimony in addition to his staff report. In the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to this application, the applicant will have an opportunity to rebut that testimony and or argument offered in opposition. And then finally, the applicant will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or make any comments. In the event of any technical difficulties, I'll do my best to troubleshoot those on the fly, but to the extent there's some defect that prevents us from me fully going forward with this hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. Okay, last thing I need to do is just swear in all of our witnesses. So if you intend on providing any testimony here today, asking any questions, making any comments, doing anything other than just strictly observing here today, then the zoning code requires that I swear you in. So if that's you, if you could please take yourself off mute at this time. I need everyone to raise their right hand and to answer out loud. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Okay, great. All right, Mr. Wentz, are you ready?
Yes.
Floor is yours.
Okay, we are proposing to simply add a covered portion to an existing deck situation for the property on Nash Avenue. It's an existing structure. The existing foundation is intact. We're not doing any excavation. We're simply adding a roof structure over an existing deck. We are expanding it just a little bit, 2 feet. And I think there's two reasons we're here today. One is it's an unusual lot, and the second is that it's in a hillside district. So the fact that it's kind of an odd shaped lot, there was some discrepancy as to actually what the front yard actually is or was. So the setbacks there, are we talking about side yards or rear yards? So anyway, I think we got that established and figured out, but with the requirements for the averaging for the neighbors for the setbacks, we find ourselves asking for a variance for this. Even though we are simply building a structure above an existing deck structure that's already there. So
you said you're expanding it in one direction?
We're expanding it by 2 feet.
Gotcha. Towards the, well,
to the south.
To the south. Okay.
Yeah, plan south.
Gotcha. Okay. And front yard. Is this a front yard setback we're talking about here? I thought
No,
Yeah, Trey, go
No.
ahead.
Well, it essentially is because the east part of this, they're building in the same footprint as an existing deck. So think of this as like somebody building a second story on and needing a setback for it, or like a non-conforming prior existing first floor. Just think of it that in that analogy, that same vein. So it's almost the entirety of this this rubber covered roof is going, as Mike indicated, it's going southward to cover over the deck. But the house doesn't align with it doesn't align parallel to the property lines. It's kind of at a little bit of an angle there, canting. And so part of this roof ends up extending the new roof, like the porch walls extend into the front yard setback that's to the east where the driveway is. So most of this thing is going all the way south. Just if you look at the site plan, either in my staff report or
Mhm.
or in the materials.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, but I mean, it is the rear of the house, correct? I mean, the way, at least from the house orientation, it's the rear of the house.
it's opposite the
From
front
house,
door.
from the house orientation, yes, it would be to the rear, but the front is to the east where the driveway is. That's the only part where you have frontage, right on the street. It's to the east.
Okay.
We have to do it based on frontage on corner lots, for example. If there's narrower, we've dealt with that before. Where on corner lots, if there's a narrower thing, the whole house may be oriented to the wider part of the lot. A big sprawling house. The front for zoning has to be where usually where the street frontage is. It's the smallest, and this is the only frontage they have. Essentially, they have like a baby panhandle here that enabled them to get frontage to build this, and it just really the figure 4 on my site plan on my staff report, or it's the site plan that by Phoenix that Mike and Amy provided. Yep. I mean, that pretty much tells the story because the house doesn't go parallel. So that little wedge, see where it says deck, that little wedge of part of the extends maybe a foot to 2 feet into the front yard setback. We're talking about
Over here?
Nope, go further, that little wedge. There's like a
Over
little wedge
here?
behind the deck. Go toward the deck part. See how his dash line is a setback? Go to the east or right. Go to the east or right. Right.
Okay.
There's
Right
the
there.
setback. So see the little part of the thing? I mean, if you could do a de minimis variance for a hillside, we would have done a de minimis variance because this is only like a foot or 2 feet into the setback.
I still don't know which portion. Is it this portion where my cursor is?
No, that's
You
the
see the-
deck. It's
Oh,
red line?
there
this?
you
That-
go, that wedge. Yep. that
There you
little
go.
Triangle. That's what we're talking about here, unfortunately.
Okay. All right.
It's just a reality of the
Interesting.
situation.
Yeah.
It's not entirely roof, so really it goes about 3 feet or whatever into it. But we're allowed roofs are allowed to project gutter, things like soffit and gutter, and so it's really only. I mean, if you look at the figure below that on my staff report, figure 5, you can see it's only like probably only a foot at the rear or rear of the house part of it, but the house is kind of it's kind of cockeyed to the it's not parallel with the property line, so that it may grow to maybe 2 feet or something. But I mean, as I said, if the hillside review allowed a de minimis variance, this would be one with the exclamation point at the end of it.
Sure. Yeah.
But it unfortunately it doesn't. So here we are. But this is
Okay.
this is for my part. This is a minimal request. It's extremely reasonable, and I just don't have any choice but to call it out as it is. So this is as close to a softball as I've ever experienced. I just can't pretend like it complies.
Sure. No, that makes sense. Thanks, Trey. I appreciate that. So, Mr. Wentz, I assume this is not going to have any impact at all on the hillside stability or the hillside environment at all, right?
No, there's zero excavation involved here. We're not touching any dirt. So yeah, unfortunately, we just find ourselves in a situation where we're requesting a front yard variance for a covered structure on the rear of what we feel like is the rear of the property.
Sure. And it won't obstruct any views from any public viewing places or neighboring properties or anything like that.
No.
So,
No.
okay. All right. All right. I think this is an easy one. Would anyone like to say anything else?
That covers it.
Okay.
I would to the homeowner. I'm sorry, it may seem nitpicky, but this is, it's what the rules require us to do. And in the hillside, there's no way to do what's called a de minimis variance. So we had to go about it this way, but it's a completely reasonable project, and I hope you enjoy the amenity.
Yeah. I mean, if it helps at all, I mean, this would be the one that if we didn't go through the formal process and do it by the book, that someone would call and complain, or there would be some lawsuit, and it would be like a huge deal. So we just have to cross the T's and dot the I's on this stuff. So I'll do everything I can. Well, let me say I'm going to approve the application. I need to formalize that approval in a written decision. And so I said at the beginning that typically takes about 2 weeks. I'll do everything I can to get that out to you as quickly as possible. We do have a lot of applications in the queue right now that I'm trying to work through. So I will get this out as soon as possible. And as soon as I finish that decision, I put in a PDF, I email it to you guys. And so you'll have it as soon as you have, you'll have it really just moments after it's complete. As soon as you have that, Trey can approve the zoning permit, and hopefully you guys can move forward.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Okay. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Have a great day. Looks like that won't be hard for the homeowner, and
Enjoy your vacation.
yeah. And we are adjourned. Thanks, guys.